In today's video, we're going to be going over all of the cars, vehicles, planes, aircrafts, and more that you can see in the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer. So I was debating how I should do this video. Should I break it down into categories of cars? But I figured the easiest way in which you might be able to follow along as well would just be to simply go in the order that the trailer progresses. So anytime there's a scene, we'll stop, we'll take a look at the vehicles. All right, so we're going to start with this opening scene right here, and let's begin with this red vehicle that looks like it's speeding away from us. That is actually the Vapid Dominator muscle car. Shortly behind it looks like either a school bus or like an airport shuttle bus. This looks like it's based on like a Chevrolet Express. This would also very likely be in the services category. Just behind that, we have a white Vapid Speedo. That would be, of course, in the van category. Following that, it looks like we have a bus. This would probably be based on the new Flyer Excelsior XD40, also probably in the services category. Heading the other direction, we can see a Joe-built Phantom Custom hauling a Patriot Beer trailer. This would be likely in the commercial category. Just ahead of that, we see a Zirconium Stratum. That is going to be in the sedan category. Going back the other way, it looks like we have a new vehicle. This looks like a Ford Transit cargo van. Of course, that would also be in the van category. And just behind that, we have what looks to be another box truck. Kind of looks like a 2012 or so Mitsubishi Fuso, which would be in the services category. And heading towards the penitentiary, we see what looks to be possibly like a Karen Asterope. This would be in the sedan category, as well as another Vapid Speedo and a Vapid Bobcat XL van. Most of those vehicles have previously been featured in the Grand Theft Auto series. Now, there's two more vehicles that I couldn't exactly put my finger on. It's this truck that seems to be carrying spare tires. That honestly looks like it's a Maebatsu mule. And then there is a plane in the sky, but because of how far away that is, we're unable to identify it. And there is also a boat that passes by in the water, but from this shot, we're simply unable to identify it. There are closer and better up shots of the boats as we get further along. Now, our very next shot of the prison parking lot does have vehicles in it, but because we're having to look through multiple sets of chain link and barbed wire fence, it's exceptionally blurry. For the most part, it looks like normal cars, sedans, maybe crossovers and SUVs, but we're unable to identify any of the vehicles in that parking lot, unfortunately. Now let's move on to our next scene, the beach flyover. The first vehicle we get our eyes on is this kind of miniature yacht. This doesn't look like it's a vehicle returning from the Grand Theft Auto series, so it looks like this will be a new type of boat that we're able to pilot. But what we can see returning from the GTA series is the Lampadati Toro that is speeding towards us, as well as the Sea Shark jet skis that you can see about maybe 50 or 100 yards or so in the water. We'll get a better close-up of those vehicles as we get further onto the beach scene. But as we pan towards the city skyline and the buildings, you can also see what looks to be sort of a sport utility vehicle truck. We'll get a better look at that in a second that's driving on the beach. That's kind of like an ocean lifeguard rescue. And we can see two aircrafts here. One also looks to be like a beach ocean rescue version of the Maverick. And we can also see a Dodo seaplane that is flying the 919 nightclub flag with, again, their famous slogan, "Why 69 when you can 919?" And we see a jet in the background taking off as well. There's lots of jets that I don't know if we're going to be able to identify just because, again, of how far away they are. But those are the vehicles from the beach flyover scene. Now, the next vehicle we get our eyes on is coming from the Everglades, and it looks like this fan boat. This is actually something we saw in the leaked footage, and it was something that really interests me. I can only guess this is going to be called the Vortex, only because it's very similar to a vehicle we saw in GTA San Andreas. But just based on what I can see, it looks like this is at least a 3-passenger or at a minimum a 2-passenger cedar boat that honestly looks like it's going pretty quick through the Everglade water there. So I wonder what category that will ultimately end up in or how rare that vehicle will be. Now back to the beach, we're able to see a handful more vehicles, including the Speedophile Sea Shark on the right-hand side and what also looks like a lifeguard SUV vehicle. Now this is primarily based on what looks to be a Ford Explorer Sport Track, maybe like an ocean rescue version, and I can only imagine that this will be in the emergency category, just like the lifeguard vehicles were in GTA 5. Now in the air, we can see the ocean rescue helicopter flying towards the water. We can also see a Sea Sparrow coming into frame. that is a helicopter that has the ability to land on water, a plane taking off, and then another helicopter flying in the distance. Now, you guys are going to have to help me out with this next scene. I'm not the biggest boating aficionado, but it certainly does look like the three boats closer to the left-hand side, that those are all the same type of speedboat. And then the one on the right-hand side seems to be a different version of a speedboat, clearly, as they're all racing in the water. And then what I can see in the background looks like it's some sort of variation of like a tugboat or something that might even be like a hauler. Again, it'll be interesting to see if those boats are actually pilotable or if they're just driven by NPCs in the water. And then, of course, we have the giant cargo ship, the BTN Del Mar, on the back right. That I'm going to assume is stationary, possibly driven in a mission, but I don't necessarily think something that large would be usable in free roam. Now, as we transition to this next shot right here of Jason and Lucia driving in the car, this is a supercar introduced in GTA Online, the Pegassi Zorusso. That's going to be really cool to see that vehicle returning. The paparazzi guy taking pictures is in a Grotti Furia supercar as well. In that same shot, we have a green pickup truck with some cargo in the back. This very much looks like it is based off of a Chevrolet Silverado, kind of like an older early 2000s vehicle that'll certainly be in the pickup category. And then that takes us to the car show, and there's a lot of vehicles that are obviously seen here. We first start with a Declasse Tulip M100, which is actually now a donk version. We can also see what looks like a Chrysler 300 parked at this car show. Now, it has PMP 700 on the badge, confirming that this is indeed the successor to the PMP 600 from Grand Theft Auto 4. We can also see the Albany Primo in traffic at the car show. This comes with a colored grille, as well as a Vapid Stainer that can also be seen in donk form, including a handful other vehicles like the Declasse Granger 3600 LX. This is seen driving in front of the camera at the car show, and as well as the Anus Jubilee that is parked there. Now, a handful of other cars that I think I've been able to spot is the Albany Buccaneer and Albany Buccaneer Custom, as well as what looks to be a Gauntlet Classic Custom. At first, I thought this might have been like a Shyster Deviant, but maybe this is the Gauntlet Classic Custom, and then a Vapid Chino. Lots of vehicles that you can see at this car show. And there's also a few motorcycles that we can see too. One of them actually looks like the Western Bagger, although I'm not 100% confident of that. And the one that's parked on the side of the street, that looks best like the NRG 900, which is going to be one of the sports bikes that we have in the game. So I don't know if this area, which is a parody of Wynwood, is going to be packed with vehicles like this 100% of the time, but man, this is a really cool place to have a car show, and we get to see a lot of the new vehicles coming in GTA 6 at this part of the trailer. Now, this next shot, which is honestly one of the most beautiful shots in the trailer, has a lot of vehicles. Some of them are very difficult to make out. I'm going to do my best. Let's start with the ones that are parked underneath all the lights. That makes it a little bit easier to see what's going on. There's three vehicles here that I was able to recognize. You got one of them, which is a van. That looks like the Bravado Yugo Classic. It looks like you've also got a Bravado Bison. It's sort of a gray color. And the one that's more of like a darker black closest to us, that is a Vapid Bobcat XL. Now, as far as what else is in this shot, it looks like there's a red sports car that might be a Bravado Banshee with a white stripe down the center heading towards us, as well as what looks to be like another box or construction truck. There's a ton of boats in the water, including one which looks like it is a police boat. You have a giant super yacht on the right-hand side. You have a ton of littler yachts on the left-hand side. Another plane flying into the city, a helicopter floating above. I wish I was able to identify more of these vehicles. If you feel like you can, please let me know in those comments down below. However, I was able to identify a lot of vehicles in this busy shot right here. Let's begin with some fun supercars. It looks like there is a unknown Pegassi vehicle, but this is new to the GTA series. This is going to be based on the brand new Lamborghini Aventador SVJ. So I guarantee you in this part of the world, you're going to see some really fast and expensive cars. You can also see a Grotti Carbonizere, a Grotti Cheetah Classic, and a Pfister Comet S2 Cabrio, all parked parallel to each other. You can also see in traffic a Bravado Gauntlet Hellfire, as well as a Vapid Dominator GTX. In that same scene, you can see a Benefactor Shafter Mark II, as well as a Dundreary Landstalker XL. You can see a vehicle that looks like it's almost a compact car. I think it might be based on like a Chevrolet Sonic or something along those lines, as well as the Easter egg car, the yellow and white taxi, that's based on like an Oldsmobile Holiday from 1955. That's probably going to be in the sports classic category as well. You can also see the back of an Obey tailgater, Michael's car from GTA 5. I don't suspect that's his, but still, that vehicle is returning, as well as a Benefactor Shafter V12. And in the distance, you can also see an Ocelot Jugular as well. So lots of vehicles in this shot. And that brings us to our next beautiful shot right here, looking at the crystal emerald blue waters of Vice City and its surrounding areas. And believe it or not, there is a lot going on here. Even though the vehicles are extremely small and there's over 100 of them, there's only a couple we can really identify here. A couple of boats. You've got the Tropic, you've got the Reefer, you've got the Dodo Seaplane. You've also got a handful of other cargo ships that you can see, as well as a couple of smaller boats and miniature yachts. But one thing that kind of sticks out to me that I noticed almost in my original trailer breakdown was that white blimp over there. And I actually didn't know what this was until very recently. And that white blimp is actually called Fat Albert, and it has a purpose. For 30 years, this blimp has kept an eye on the air and sea traffic from the Caribbean Sea to Tampa Bay, and it's trying to keep the water safe and cut down on drug trafficking. So that looks like it's going to be one of the coolest Easter eggs in GTA 6. Who also knows what else is going on that little island over there, considering the significance of that vehicle. In this shot right here, where we see a social media post from Have a Vice Day, this vehicle can actually be identified, believe it or not, from the rear, and that is the Karen Intruder sedan returning from Grand Theft Auto 5. But anyways, let's move on. In this shot taken from up above, where we can see two ladies dancing on top of the vehicle, which kind of a neat little Easter egg you might not have noticed is this scene right here is coming from this social media shot. So Rockstar is giving us what it looks like through the lens of the camera recording it, as well as what looks to be the helicopter camera or whatever is capturing it from above. I found that detail to be kind of cool. But anyways, let's dive into the vehicles that can be spotted here. There's a white Vapid Dominator ASP with a couple of people standing on the hood. You can also see a car that looks like it's based on the Chevrolet Volt, as well as a Bravado Buffalo EVX muscle car returning from GTA Online. A classic in the GTA series, the Maibatsu Penumbra sports car will also be returning, and a fan favorite from GTA Online, the Annis LG Retro sports car will be returning, as well as Franklin's car from GTA 5, the Bravado Buffalo muscle car. Now in this same shot, it looks like we can also see the Ubermacht Cypher sports car, as well as the Tundra Panther just recently added into GTA 5 and Grand Theft Auto Online. And there's also a Bravado Gauntlet Classic sort of hanging out in the background too. It's red and has the almost black colored roof. Now moving on, our next shot right here from Planet Leonida Man, where the cop is chasing the naked dude in front of the gas station. Looks like there's a couple of vehicles we can identify here, including a brand new police car, the Bravado Buffalo police variant. Looks like it's from Leonard County Sheriff Office with the green and white color scheme. It also looks like there's a new red pickup truck in the background that looks like it's towing a boat or towing a trailer, something very big. And then towards the very end, you can see this gray Vapid Sand King SWB off-road pop into frame. Now up next very quickly in the social media post by General Custard Cannon, you can see an Impante Ruiner in yellow on the right. And we can also see what looks to be like this massive tow truck on the left too, driving by the scene. And the only reason I say tow truck is it looks like it says towing and recovery 24 hours. And it looks like that has that traditional towing hook on the back. So it looks like tow trucks are going to be returning, which I can only imagine fans are going to have a ton of fun with. Now in this scene with the Thrillbillies, we can see a handful of vehicles, including a Bravado Bison van or pickup truck. We can also see a Vapid Cara 4x4 that was added kind of recently in GTA Online. We can also see an American flag monster truck with a handful of different flags on the back. One of them looks to be an eye on a black flag. I don't know if that's supposed to be a parody of something or making fun of something. Again, you guys can let me know in those comments down below. And in the far right, it looks like we can see a Nagasaki Outlaw. So lots of cool vehicles that are shown off here in this giant mud pit featuring these crazy hillbillies. Now in the next shot with Jason and Lucia driving away, we can see two police vehicles. One of them looks like a Vapid police cruiser, and the other one kind of looks like a Ford Explorer police SUV version. So there's definitely going to be multiple different types of police vehicles that can be seen. And we even get to see more in the very next shot regarding the Pee-wee's Dine and Dash. One police car that's seen here looks like a Dodge Challenger FHP. So this is what the Florida Highway Patrol vehicles look like. They look absolutely awesome, and I bet they're fast as you know what. In that very same scene, we can see a Karen Intruder, as well as an Ines Helion, as well as a Bravado Rumpo van that looks like it has a Sawbreeze livery on there. I can't make it out exactly what it says, but it also looks like there is a Joe Built Rubble in there too. Lots of vehicles that you can see sort of crashing in this scene. In this next shot with all the bikers, I only see two vehicles. They might have multiple different variants or types of customizations. I see a Maibatsu Sanchez and a Nagasaki Blazer. Those are the two vehicles that I see right there. We also see those exact same cars and vehicles on the dirt bike dirtbag shot right here, but we can also see a handful of other vehicles too, including a Bravado Banshee. And fun little fact about this, it's actually painted in the iconic Banshee colors from Grand Theft Auto 3, that blue with the white stripe going down the center. I thought that was kind of cool. We can also see a Karen Futo, as well as a Bravado Buffalo STX squad car variant. How neat is that? As well as a Vapid Police Interceptor too. And I think I can spot a Pfister Comet Retro Custom as well. I'm not 100% confident in that. It looks like it's the silver vehicle that is actually talking to the police officer complaining about all the traffic. Now in our last couple of shots here, we can see some pretty cool vehicles, including Jason's DeClasse Tulip. It looks like this is going to be his primary custom personal car. In the background, we can also see a Benefactor Dubsta, as well as what looks to be an Ubermacht Rebla, which again was just recently added to Grand Theft Auto Online. Now there's definitely a handful of other vehicles in this trailer that look like they're brand new to the Grand Theft Auto series, and of course are going to be based on real life vehicles, and they might even be a combination of real life vehicles. So you might see something like a Pontiac Trans Am that you recognized, or possibly even like a Range Rover. Some of these vehicles might not have been established. Remember that Rockstar isn't just going to use all old existing vehicles. Some of them are going to be brand new to the series. So that's something we need to expect as well. Now, a couple of other things I kind of just want to point out. They might not necessarily be identifying the vehicles themselves, but there are things on the cars that you can identify. Like, for example, in this green truck right here, I'm not able to identify it, but there are a couple of interesting stickers here, like Vice Vinyl, as well as Ride Out Customs, which might be the custom shop here. You can also see Crosstown, and then something that says Rap Like Something, and what looks to be like a sticker for like an Instagram page or something along those lines. That's one thing I noticed. And then in this shot right here, where we actually see another Instagram show, High Rollers Mag, on the back of this truck right here, it says Sound for Sound Records. And you can also see there's records in the background. And then on the green PMP 700 on the left, the back sticker says Raised by Ride Out Custom. So a lot of these vehicles have decals on the back, which is a pretty cool, neat feature. And even Jason's car has decals on the back and a handful of bumper stickers too. So that right there is all the cars, vehicles, aircrafts, planes, and more that you can see and are really able to identify in the GTA 6 trailer. Please let me know in those comments down below if you have noticed any other vehicles that I did not mention in this video, or maybe you can add some further clarification to some of the unknown ones in the video. I'd love to hear from you guys down there. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would of course be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. You want to stay up to date on all the GTA 6 videos that I'll be doing here on my channel. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.